Salvadorian justice declared unconstitutional the summons made by President Nayib Bukele to the deputies of the legislative body last February. Macron to impose a new 4-week national lockdown. Iran president warned about the effects of insulting Prophet Mohammed. From the headquarters of TeleSUR English in Havana, Cuba, this is From the South, I'm Gladys Quesada. Salvadorian justice declared unconstitutional the summons made by President Nayib Bukele to the deputies of the legislative body last February. This was declared by the Constitutional Chamber of the Supreme Court of Justice upon determining that the edict of the Council of Ministers contravenes the Constitution. According to the justice body, the summons of the executive to the legislature last February 19 to discuss an emergency law for security does not fit with Article 167 of the Constitution, since the issue was already on the agenda of the Congress. The Chamber also determined that the Council of Ministers did not justify the urgency of the approval of the law and its relation to the immediate reduction of crime, and that deputies were not obligated to make a final decision. They also ordered the Minister of Defense and the Director of the National Police not to exceed the functions provided for in the Constitution and the law. Let's go to Argentina, because this Tuesday the Ministry of Economy of that country got the largest funding of the year with the award of $254.6 billion. In the same day, a successful placement of the bond tied to the dollar was reached, as well as the new decline in the currency. This was confirmed by the Office of Minister Martín Guzmán. The bidding carried out through the placement of several instruments in relation to the type of rates and terms will help the economy of the country. The firm also reported on the placement of other inflation-adjusted peso bonds. Guzmán himself stated that this result allows the country to reduce its dependence on monetary issuance to finance the fiscal deficit generated by the pandemic and to direct it towards economic stability. On Tuesday, the total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Latin America has exceeded 11 million, according to a report by China's Central Television. The Brazilian Ministry of Health said on Tuesday that Brazil's COVID-19 death toll had reached 157,946 after 549 more daily deaths were reported. The single-day fatalities almost doubled the number reported on Monday. Meanwhile, tests detected 29,787 new cases of the virus, bringing the total number of cases since the onset of the epidemic to over 5.4 million. As of Monday night, Argentina had confirmed over 29,000 deaths from COVID-19 and 1.1 million cases of the infection. Argentine President Alberto Fernández on Tuesday said he was confident that by March of next year there will be a set of vaccines that effectively combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Meanwhile, in Colombia, health authorities reported Tuesday that the total number of confirmed cases surpassed 1 million. While countries such as St. Lucia, Barbados, and St. Kitts and Nevis have maintained a low number of coronavirus cases, other countries in the region, including Guyana, Belize, Trinidad and Tobago, and the Bahamas, continue to experience a surge of the virus and deaths. The Bahamas recorded another 4 confirmed fatalities and 36 infections this week. In contrast, St. Lucia has recorded 65 COVID-19 cases, of which 38 remain active. St. Lucia introduced a Caribbean bubble concept in September with a list of approved nations for travel to the country. These nations and territories included Antigua and Barbuda, Anguilla, Barbados, Bonaire, British Virgin Islands, Curaçao, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Barthélemy, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Travelers arriving from this jurisdiction have been accepted from a COVID-19 test for entry, while those arriving from outside the approved list must provide a negative PCR test no more than 7 days before the arrival.
De los contagiados, 127.
The ambassador of Argentina in Barbados, His Excellency Gustavo Martínez Pandiani, called on Barbadian authorities to further deepen relations with South and Central American countries in several areas to help boost the economy activity. Pandiani said Barbados could be the perfect bridge between the English-speaking Caribbean, the Argentina, and the rest of South and Central America.
You are, in general, because of your tradition, because of your past, you look more north. You look Europe, you look UK, you look the United States, you look Canada. I believe that now Central America and South America should be great partners for you, for tourism, for businesses, for investment. We need to connect a little better, even in terms of the transportation of possibilities. We have just one flight coming from Panama. We need to have more flights coming from Colombia, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, even from Mexico. We don't have connections in terms of logistic, and that reflects sometimes that we need to work a little more on our political coordination.
In Barbados, tourism officials are predicting hotel occupancy levels up to 40% by the end of the year, based on bookings. At the same time, Minister of Tourism Senator Lisa Cummings said she was heartened that several potential investors were lining up to pump money into infrastructure projects in the country. She made the revelation during the virtual Global Business Week, while discussing on diversity of global business, the Barbados' unique perspective.
Tell you how many meetings we have bookings which are indicating that the demand is expected also to increase, and occupancy rates are expected to reach at least at a minimum 40% through the high season and then continue to climb into January. So in terms of the market for travel, there is that. However, but if we start to look at the actual investment climate, I cannot tell you how many meetings I have had over the last few weeks with persons who are interested in investing in new infrastructure in Barbados. We have, of course, the properties that the Prime Minister spoke about during the throne speech. So we have the Hyatt, the Royalton, and the Harlequin, and those properties which are continuing new investments, well underway, Park Planning Commission approved, and all of those things happening. We have also a number of potential investors who have expressed a range of different types of interest in new projects. So, for example, there are persons who are expressing interest in coming to Barbados to invest in ecotourism. New specialty facilities are also being looked at. We have conference facilities that are also attracting significant attention by way of investment.
We'll take a short break now, but we'll be right back after this very short break, so don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. The French President Emmanuel Macron is expected to impose a new 4-week national lockdown to halt the spread of COVID-19, according to French media. Macron is due to make a televised address on Wednesday in the evening after holding a second emergency meeting with government ministers. Large swathes of France, including Paris, have been placed under a nighttime curfew, but officials said this has not been enough to stop the virus. Tuesday figures from the Public Health Authority reported over 33,000 new COVID-19 cases in the previous 24 hours and 288 coronavirus-related diseases.
I don't blame the government for pondering before taking decisions that will have serious consequences in many domains, such as health, education, and economy. Those are not decisions that are easy to take. I am more unhappy with political polemics, because I think that this is not the moment for this. It's a moment to stick together and find solutions that are the less painful for people.
What is hardest for me is to be in this sort of permanent wait, so it's been very anxious to be hearing unconfirmed rumors for a few days. So we do want to know what will happen. I think it will be hard. I will not like to be going through another confinement like in March. So I hope we will still have some freedoms of movement.
Former U.S. President Barack Obama ridiculized Donald Trump, saying that the current president is jealous of the media coverage that COVID-19 has had. Obama, who is rallying for his former vice president and now Democrat candidate Joe Biden, was talking about a recent tweet in which Trump repeated his baseless refrain that the media are only reported about COVID-19 as a ploy to harm his re-election. Meanwhile, the number of people hospitalized for the virus has climbed an estimated 46% from a month ago. 26 states are currently at or near record numbers for new infections, and more than 500,000 new cases have been confirmed in the past week. No state or territories are seeing a sustained decline in case numbers. About 800 deaths are now being recorded across the country each day, far fewer than the spring, but are slightly from earlier this month. And it was the second night of protest following the shooting of a black man by Philadelphia police. The 27-year-old man was identified by city officials as Walter Wallace, as he was shot around 4 p.m. local time on Monday.
Oh, yes. You cannot retrain hatred. You cannot retrain a man who would do what he did to Walter, who would do what he did to him. You cannot retrain that. That's a sickness that's on the inside, and you can't, training will not erase that. What will get it is punishment, imprisonment. And because they routinely get away with doing things to us, there's no accountability and they feel no responsibility. They don't even try.
This right now, from what happened, it was a color thing, but as you can see, it's no longer that. This is like affecting everybody. Everybody's affected by it because that could have been anybody's child. You feel what I'm saying? But in a different neighborhood where it's less crime and things of that nature, that situation probably would have been handled a lot differently. You understand what I'm saying? A lot different. A lot different.
In the United States, 2 wildfires remain uncontained, one near Yorba Linda and Chino Hills in California, and another near Glendale, Los Angeles, prompting mandatory evacuations. State officials have blamed the climate change as a significant cause of the wildfire surge. More than 90,000 people have fled their homes near Los Angeles. The 2 fast-spreading and uncontained wildfires rage across more than 14,600 acres, blocking key roadways and critically injuring 2 firefighters. Both the Silverado Fire and the Blue Ridge Fire erupted Monday, fueled by dry conditions and erratic winds. The National Weather Service warned that the combination of low humidity, dry vegetation, and strong winds created the most dangerous fire weather conditions this year. China on Wednesday accused U.S. senators of telling all kinds of lies after a group of lawmakers put forward a resolution accusing Beijing of genocide against Muslim minority groups in the far northwestern region of Xinjiang.
What we have seen is that the U.S. has used large-scale expulsions, assimilation and massacres of Native Americans in history to greatly reduce their population from 5 million to 250,000. Is this an act of genocide? We urge certain U.S. politicians to respect the facts, stop fabricating lies, and stop using Xinjiang-related issues to interfere in China's internal affairs.
And the U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo accused China's government of lawless and threatening behavior during a joint news conference with Maldives Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid on Wednesday. Pompeo's comments came during his visit to two Indian Ocean island nations, Sri Lanka and the Maldives, where he has been touting the Trump administration's anti-China campaign. The Secretary of State criticized China on a number of fronts, from what he called a failure to live up the promises of the Paris Climate Accord, which the United States did not even sign, to their illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing. On Wednesday, heavy winds and rain battered Quang Ngai province as Typhoon Molave hit central Vietnam. Vietnamese authorities evacuated more than 500,000 people from its central coastal region. Schools and beaches were closed and many flights canceled ahead of the severe typhoon. Since early October, Vietnam has suffered severe flooding and landslides that have claimed 130 lives. Before impacting Vietnam, Molave caused severe damages or 3 deaths in central Philippines. We'll be right back after this very short break, so stay with us. Welcome back. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani warned Wednesday that insulting the Prophet Mohammed may encourage violence and bloodshed, following Paris' defense of the publication of cartoons depicting the Prophet.
Insulting the Prophet is not achievement. It's immoral. It's encouraging violence, inciting millions and billions around the world, Muslims and non-Muslims. This is not achievement. It's a surprise that this would come from those claiming culture and democracy, that they would somehow, even if unwanted, encourage violence and bloodshed. Which part of freedom's definition is giving up on ethics? The West should understand that the Prophet of Islam is loved by all Muslims and freedom seekers of the world. Insulting the Prophet is insulting all Muslims, all prophets, all human values, trampling ethics. If the West is saying the truth, if Europe and France are saying the truth, if they really seek to achieve peace, equality, calmness and security in today's society, then the West must stop interfering in Muslims' internal affairs.
On Wednesday, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan accused European countries of using an anti-Muslim stance to cover up for their domestic failures.
I believe that the enemies of Turkey and Islam have gone to drown in a swamp of hatred and animosity in the name of freedom. These are the signs that Europe has gone back to barbaric times. We ask those who use anti-Muslim and Turkey hostility as a cover to disguise their failures in domestic politics to put their dirty hands from our sacred values. Will we renounce our honor for them? Will we look the other way because of them? Some might be able to do that, but the Turkish people cannot take an immoral approach in the face of any attack on its faith and values.
And international observers arrived in Abidjan on Wednesday to watch the electoral process that will choose the next leader of Ivory Coast. The mission, which is made up for members of the Carter Center and the Electoral Institute for Democracy in Africa, has deployed 47 observers throughout the country. Concerns about electoral violence in the West African nation have increased in the recent weeks after demonstrations and attacks in different regions. Assailants burned down the home of a leading opposition presidential candidate Pascal Affi N'Guessan, while one of his party's officers came under attack elsewhere.
On va prendre le chef de mission pour dire bon voici il y a tant de personnes.
One of the most prestigious dance companies in the world, the Cuban National Ballet, celebrates this Wednesday, October 28, its 72nd anniversary with the aim of rescuing part of his historical legacy. With some images and amazing moments of this jewel of the Cuban culture, we finish this news brief. Remember, you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Also, you can join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. For TeleSUR English, I'm Gladys Quesada. Thank you for watching.